I heard someone say AI is the new gluten. Throw it on anything and it sells.
Every time a role was given to me, I gave my 110% to that.
From handling small teams to leading cross-functional teams that span the globe.
Early in my careers, when I started with some of the smaller companies, it was one of those moments where you're learning by doing. And it feels like you are solving small puzzles every day.
Well, these might not be the most fun part of leadership, but they are definitely the most crucial.
It was during my time at Bronzo that I started seeing myself not just as a coder or an architect, but as someone who could help scale the entire engineering culture.
Is there one product or platform that really challenged you, and how did you shape it?
That's where I really began to think about the business side of the delivery teams, scaling product lines, and eventually leading the side of 150 people.
How did you build teams that are both operationally strong and still innovative?
If there is a challenge which might makes you uncomfortable, where there are problems, believe me, there is an opportunity, huge opportunity to grow. You should most definitely take it.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to FaceTime with Leaders, powered by Directors Institute World Council of Directors. This is the place where we ditch job titles and dive into journeys. Today's guest, Mr. Kanchan Kumar Dey, Engineering Director in Software Engineering at Cisco Systems India. His path spans over 2 decades, from coding in small teams to architecting massive systems and scaling teams from 6 to 80 plus. He's someone who's built frameworks that power products, led global collaboration, and shaped engineering culture at scale. But what really stands out isn't just the tech, it's the grit, the growth, and the human leadership baked into every line of code and every organization decision. So let's dive in and get to know the mind behind the engineering muscle. Firstly, welcome on the show, sir.
Thanks, Tanay, and thanks for that wonderful introductions, and thanks for having me in this call.
Our pleasure, sir. Sir, you've had a long and interesting career across multiple companies and roles. Would you mind walking us through that journey, like just in your own words, how it all began, the transitions, and maybe a few turning points along the way?
Sure. So I think my journey might interest people who are starting late in the career or who may not be having the right certifications to do the job which they wanted to do. And maybe they do not have the long-term visions. Still, they can succeed if they are eager to learn and eager to perform. I started with, I have um, played a role in technology as well as in people leader. I have worked with multiple product lines, multiple team sizes also. My after completing my graduation in economics and the MBA in systems from the University of Bardhaman, West Bengal, I started looking for the job, and at that time, the job market was not so good. Somewhere I believed that I wanted to be a software engineer because I liked, the programming part, and that's the techie part on me. But there was no proper educations at that point of time or certification at that point of time. And anyway, so I decided to start with small companies with much lower pace. But then pay was not important at that point of time because I wanted to learn the technologies. I wanted to use the resources in those companies, like the computers and all these study materials and all. And that's how I started my career with few small companies. I learned, many of the technologies like the Perl, PHP, VB, ASP, and then settle down with the Java J2E, which was the growing technology at that point of time. I learned a lot during my on the job work itself. So it was not previously I coming from that background. I learned from the codes written by the good peoples or even by the companies like the Sanjava. I used to look through their codes. I used to listen a lot to the other techie people, architects, how they are talking, what design thinking they are having. So it's all about, learning not through the books, but from your ears also and from your environment also. So that's how my career has started, where I started with the smaller companies with the smaller roles, and for the first 10 to 14 years, it was engineering progress from a mere web developer to a position of senior engineer. And throughout this, there were a lot of challenges. And in each of the challenges, when it comes, you have to really excel and you have to understand. It's not about delivering what you have been given, but actually you need to be knowledgeable on that. You need to upskill yourself on that technology and all that domain also. Understand, unless you understand the domain, unless you understand the customers pain point, you may not be able to do it in a nice way. And also the programming part, you need to do it in an excellent way. So there is a difference how one bad programmer and how one professional programmer write a code. So that excellency and gaining that knowledge throughout has helped me a lot. So that's around 10 to 14 years where I was performing in the engineering role. And after that, a sudden change in my role was to the leadership, where I have been pushed towards managing people. Somewhere, I believe, every time I performed, people were seeing me, my leadership had seen me, and they were having trust. The way I was working, the commitment I was giving, and the knowledge that I was having through my learning. So in the last 10 years, I moved from a senior manager and now I'm working as the engineering director at Cisco. Again, there were a lot of challenges in that journey, scaling up teams, upskilling with the new technology for the people, acquisition of new products and learning those product lines. And then, the most important, building the culture of continuous growth, collaboration, trust. So that's a really a different kind of play, because earlier with engineering I was in the IC role, but this is more about my people. And as I mentioned, one of the important thing is that you need to be a knowledgeable, you need to excel on your role, and you also need to be a nice human being because you are working in one environment. And if you're a nice human being, everything plays nicely around that. So that was a quick glimpse of the things that how I started my career and landed up into an engine director. It's all like hardworking. These are all the words known to everyone. It's a time-tested one. It's nothing new that I've done. It's a hardworking focus. But the foremost is you have to have that hunger. Without that, you probably may not be able to excel. So once you have that hunger, you'll be excelling and try to acquire the knowledge and excel on that. So those are the things I would say, the key factors in my journey.
Yeah, very well said, sir. I think hard work trumps education, talent, anything any day. Like you said, that you weren't in the field, but if you wanted it and you're there, that is also a
Exactly.
journey possible.
Correct.
So, security audits, customer escalations, it's not always glamorous, but it's critical. How do you build teams that are operationally strong yet innovative?
So, well, operations and innovations goes hand in hand. Actually, innovations helps to make your operation more smoother and easy to maintain. Um, the uh, the security and the escalations, these are day-to-day activity. Like escalations happens every day. Security is a more regular thing. But the auditing happens once in a year or twice in a year. So that's not a major load factor around that. Four things which are very important here are the tools and technologies, which itself is a part of the innovations. Um, then your teams and team composition, that's important. And then building a culture and training and skills. Those are the things that are there. Now let me talk, one at a time. So with our operations and with the other works of feature delivery and all, we have constantly worked on innovative approaches and integrating tools and technologies at every point of our development life cycle. So is it on the coding? That part also we have a tooling. Is it on the deployment, build pipeline? That part also we have a security tooling that can catch issues, and even our post deployment third party issues are being caught. So integration of those toolings and identifying those itself is a part of the innovations. Catching issues earlier or catching regressions earlier is, again, you can address it through the automations. So building the right automations framework and right automation test cases is another thing on the innovations part. Then if you want to handle the escalations, you have to if you want to control the escalations part, you need to have good monitoring and health measuring systems of your product. So we have brought into picture a lot of monitoring and observations, alerting mechanisms, pages into integrated into our system. That helps the operation smooth, to run it smooth and easier, apart from delivering the other features and everything. So, and even in fact, we are working on integrating AI-based solutions to automatically triage the problems, categorize the problems, and maybe even closing some of the problems automatically. These are some of the parts of the innovations that can help the operations. It doesn't needs to go separate. It's a hands-on and things. Now, coming up to the teams and team composition. So when you have the current issues or the issues are coming on a daily basis, how you are going to deal with that? You have a separate team. You build a team composition. Like some team would be working on the security, some are working on the escalation, and some are working on the feature delivery. But at the same time, you're keeping in mind the people who are working on the security or the escalations, they might get bored. So they are just not meant for that. So you have to have some rotations policies, right? So those are the some of the strategies we used to take within our team, that for a month or two we used to deploy some people handling those security and the customer escalations part of it, where others are working on the feature delivery. We have a separate team who works on smoothing the DevOps, the CI/CD pipeline. So this team composition is another important part of the things. The third thing is about the consciousness. If people are not aware about the seriousness of the securities and the escalations, it will be a problem, because it costs to the company. It's a loss to a company. It's a threat to a company. So they need to very well understand the gravity and the importance of it. And that can be only built through the conscious culture. So we have so many training programs, goes on throughout the year. We have one training program where we have gone through a lot of security certifications. Right now we are going through a lot of AI certification. It's a kind of a continuous learning process that we go through. Now when you build up your systems like that, audit really becomes easy. Audit is all about adhering to some methodologies, the standards, process and all. And it starts right from your requirement gathering to delivery, deployments, problem management, program management. You have to record everything. Even you should do the retrospections and record that. So you need to do everything. Now when it's become part of your system, a normal day-to-day activity, even if someone joins new, they're part of this culture, they will automatically learn all those things. So during audit, it really becomes easier, because you need to provide evidence for each of these categories, each of this part of the things. And yes, of course, sometimes we get feedbacks around some of the gaps, but we take that feedback and we plan it out, and then again we work on it out, and that's how we handle those things in place. So it's a hand in hand thing. It's not a two
Yeah.
different thing. That's how we manage
One
it.
should help each other. That's the
Yes.
baseline, I
Yes.
guess. Yeah.
Correct.
So you worked in both Indian and global setups. How do engineering expectations differ across geographies, and how do you align cross-border teams?
Oh, good questions. So, it's not that one thing fits all, and it's not about stereotyping the things. But yes, I've seen when we work with the India engineers are more like work centric. If you give the work, they would like to finish it up. If they are stuck, they would be sticking to it unless that is getting finished. They don't mind stretching or extending their timelines and solving that problem. Whereas if you see the engineers from the other geographies, like the West, they're more time bound, and they're more organized, systematic. design driven kind of things. The engineers in India, they are more, techie kind of thing. But when you talk about the design, they are lacking over there. They shine up when there is a technical discussion or architectural discussions, but when there I've seen, like, when the discussion is all about the domain or the discussion is all about the business, they're lacking somewhere. They do not have that interest or that knowledge that they can ask the right questions. Even when they can ask the questions, but they, some way, do not ask it. They are very much judgmental about their questions, whether it is right or wrong. Whereas I've seen the Western people, they simply ask the question. If they don't know something, they will ask. So they're quite bold over there. So yes, that's some of the difference, but it's not like all the engineers in India is like that. It is not to stereotype, but yes, there are some observations around. And I think this is one of the things where leadership also has a key role to play. Like, every leader would like to have a team where people can deliver. They can, at times, they can stretch, extends on their work and meet the timelines. Or when there is a situations, escalations, they can jump over no matter what time it is, the day or night. So while they like that, they would also like, they would be, needing people who can really think about the business, about the domain, and come up with the gaps and the features that can create values of it. Now, that's something the, leaders has to work on it. They need to create those platforms where they can ask, or they can, provide opportunities to their engineers to come and talk about it, so that, any kind of you know any kind of hold up that they are having would go away. They become more comfortable talking about technologies and all. So that's one of the things I think they need to work on.
Very well said, sir.
Thank
Okay,
you.
sir, now we're moving on to the rapid fire round. Here, I will ask you some fun questions, and the only thing I expect of you is one word, one line answers, and really quickly. So, are you ready?
Okay, let's go.
Lovely. What's your midweek guilty pleasure? Chai break or doom scrolling tech news?
Uh, it's doom scrolling, or I'd say scrolling. Like, I'd scroll through both bad and good content in the middle of the work if I'm at home. But
Yeah.
in office, I hardly get time. It's all goes through the meeting. So I would say it's a little bit of doom scrolling, but otherwise scrolling through contents in the
Okay.
middle.
One tech term you secretly wish would just disappear.
Of course, the mobile gaming. I know it adds, sometimes it helps, with the cognitive skills and your reflections. I see my child sometimes play so quick, I can't even imagine. And they are getting up to those technological terms out of those games. Also, there is a robo, it's a AI thing. It's all good, but they are very much addicted. Their creativity is completely getting
Yeah.
destroyed out of it. So maybe gaming is okay. Outside you play or sometimes, but mobile gaming, I think we need to stop it.
Yeah. If your team gave you a nickname behind your back, what do you think it would be?
Few years back, like, I'm a hardcore engineer at heart. Leader, I have transitioned into that role. So probably I would be loving if someone is calling me, he's a techie. I would admire that.
Yeah.
But yes, that's something.
If code could talk, what would your code say about you?
It's crafty and simple. It's beautiful, and it performs without hassle.
Ah, lovely. What's your go-to way to unplug when work gets too loud?
Okay, so there's no specific things. I play badminton sometimes, so I go to play badminton. I watch TV in off times, newses, and some good movies. I like to sit down with my friends and family, talk a little bit, and have party time, and that's
Yeah.
how it's normal things.
Yeah.
That's the way we unplug ourselves.
What would be your dream vacation? Mountains with no Wi-Fi or beach with sneaky Slack notifications?
If I have to choose between these two, it will be mountains with no Wi-Fi, but otherwise Wi-Fi is okay,
Huh.
but no laptops, and should be during the US holidays.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much for that, sir. We had a lovely rapid fire round. Thank you for being quick and on spot. Now,
Sure.
moving
Thank
on to our
you.
next question.
Yeah.
Sir, we've seen a surge in telecom impersonation scams, especially where VoIP is used to spoof local numbers and intimidate users, like the Ahmedabad case where fraudsters posted as try officials, or the Bangalore incident where over 1.2 crore was lost. Given your extensive experience in engineering leadership across global collaboration platforms and telecom stacks, how do you think companies like Cisco or the industry more broadly can preemptively design systems that make this kind of caller ID manipulation harder to execute?
Cisco is already on it. First thing. Now, when you say, the telecom impersonation, it's just not the calling. We are in the communication and collaboration space, which means meetings, messaging, sharing. This is one kind of sharing, desktop sharing or file sharing. It's everywhere. It starts with the devices. Devices are the other things where security has to be inbuilt over there. You have the network. The network has to be secured. Your server system. So everything is over there. And if you talk about my company Cisco, they have implemented security in every part of it. There is AI stack that also takes care of some of this filtering and all. So yeah, and other important to start with, I think the security starts with the people itself. People has to be very conscious what calls they are taking, and they should be putting up their own mind over there. And the laws are also important, where stricter rules and regulations and some kind of punishment has to be there. Now, coming to your specific question, I think these solutions can be built when it has been done through the telecom providers itself, where the solution is standardized and everyone is following up that. Steer second is one of the things that has been implemented by many, where it digitally signs your the SIP messages and all, and you can validate, like it's from this service providers originating server to the terminating server, and that they can validate the authenticity of those messages coming up. There could be many other ways could be implemented. The AI powered solutions, where your you know the network filtering can be also done, where you can filter out the messages which, looking at some of the patterns, it can be protected. Voice biometrics, which can artificially identify some of the voices which might be a robocalls kind of things. Multi-factor authentications could be another things, where it could be, where it can identify, oh, that this might be a robocall or a spam call. It can challenge to dial some digits back on before forwarding the call. So those are some of the techniques that can be implemented. And Cisco is already over there. I say it like it has to start from the person, from the device, on the network, on the servers, and then comes on the calling framework. So it has to be everywhere.
Yeah, very true, sir.
Yeah.
So, before we wrap, you joined Directors Institute. We would love to know what made you say yes to more learning and how has it reshaped your worldview?
Okay, so I have been in this IT industry for the last almost 25 years. I've seen all the engineering thing, and now I'm the playing a role as a director over there. So what next? I can continue. I'm continuing on this rail, but there some new learnings. I often also wonder, how these companies changing, due to the environmental factors. Think about during COVID and post-COVID, how the companies has changed their strategies. There are a lot of LRs happening, as well as there are a lot of recruitments are happening. This market turbulence and the change of the technology, how they are, shifting their focus from one technology to the other technology.
Yeah, yeah.
I often wonder, like, how what makes them taking decisions, how it comes up to them, what happens really in the boardroom, based on which they are taking those decisions. So this is still a gray area for me. Yes, I can logically think how probably it is happening, but I understand there are a lot of technicalities behind it which I totally don't know. I'm completely blank about it, and that was some kind of interest I was having. And when I saw this Data Institute ad, it automatically kind of connected to that. And after some thinking, I joined this. And I would say, like, if you ask me, how do you feel after joining? This is so vast and interesting. I am going slow but solid, but it is giving me so much of insights about the boardroom compositions, the roles and duties. I never know that the directors mandatorily has to be rotated, the executive
Correct.
directors. That was a complete new thing for me. The role of an independent directors and why we needed that. All these things about the shares, the capital securities. I'm still learning. I would say one who likes to join should come with commitment. It is just not like that you come and try. You have to put some commitment, some time, learning it nicely. It has a lot of insights, a lot of interesting things, and I'm enjoying it at this point.
Kanchan sir, thank you so much for for firstly being here and then for the authenticity, the leadership stories, and the honesty. Like you've shown
Thank
that
you.
engineering, like really, sir, you've shown that engineering isn't just about systems. It's about systems with soul, frameworks built with trust, and leadership built on reflection. So thank you. And like you said when you started, that it's more about where you want to be rather than where you started out from.
Yeah.
Lovely,
Thanks
sir.
for the time also. Yeah.
Our pleasure, sir. To everyone listening, if today's episode made you think differently about tech leadership or your own journey, go ahead and share it with someone else who needs that inspiration. This is FaceTime with Leaders, powered by Directors Institute. Until next time, keep building, keep learning, stay future ready, and of course, have fun in your journey. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Tanay.